MegaPodTastic. Good morning, MegaPodlings. It's Krazy Joe, and I am back
I'm Christine.
Oh, you're actually doing a video. What the heck?
It's not the first time.
It's not the first time, but you don't always. We are at Movie Tavern. We have a babysitter. It is a date night.
Yay!
And we are about to see Captain Marvel. Let's check this out. Movie Tavern. Are you ready?
Ready.
Well, I do need a job.
Is that James Martin?
Yes, it is.
I'm so hungry. How you doing today? Good, yourself? Good.
I think I'm going with the chicken tenders for a change. So I am back from seeing Captain Marvel, and I really wish Christine could have been here to help me do the review, but unfortunately she just wasn't available. She's very, very busy. We could have put it off till tomorrow. She probably would have been ready tomorrow, but I wanted to get this review out to you guys quicker because, you know, I took a little bit on How to Train Your Dragon, for which I apologize. So I wanted to get that Captain Marvel review out as soon as humanly possible. So here we are. So Christine, and she really surprised me jumping into the shot. She sometimes can be a little camera shy. So usually, it's very often she's with me when I'm shooting these things. And she tries to stay off camera because she doesn't always want to be on camera. So when she jumped into the shot, I was like, wow, that was awesome. That was really cool. I wish she'd be in more videos. I really do. She's great on camera. I think she's great on camera. I'm a little biased. She's my wife. My wife, as Rick would say. So I was thrilled when she jumped onto the camera. But anyway, we saw the movie. I gotta admit, we had a really bad movie-going experience. It was a terrible, terrible movie-going experience. We went to Movie Tavern. It was date night. We really like Movie Tavern, but it was not good. Our waiter vanished, did not... There's a little call button. You're supposed to hit the button. A light goes on. That's how they know you need service. Our light was on for 50 minutes. 50 minutes. No service. At 30 minutes, our button had been on for 30 minutes. I got up and found an employee and said, hey, our button's been on for 30 minutes now, and our waitress never came back. And the guy said, don't worry, I'll handle it. That was at 30 minutes. 20 more minutes pass, still nobody showed up. We weren't pleased. And an item that we paid for popcorn. But you know, you have dinner. It's Movie Tavern, you have dinner. We asked for our dinner, and then we said, and about an hour into the movie, bring the popcorn. An hour into the movie, we still hadn't received our dinner. Everyone around us had been served. We hadn't gotten our dinner. Finally, our dinner comes at 8:15. A 7:15 movie, our dinner comes at 8:15. And it was cold. And it didn't just come. It's not like they just brought us our dinner. We had to hit the button and say, hey, where's our dinner? And then after we hit the button, our dinner showed right up. So apparently our dinner was ready, and the waitress just never bothered to bring it to us. So when we got it, it was cold. And now, at the time when we're supposed to be getting the popcorn, we're just starting dinner. And then the popcorn, and we paid for all this in advance, popcorn never showed up. And by the end of the movie, we never got our popcorn. So I'm going off on a tangent. It was a bad movie-going experience. This was one of the worst movie-going experiences in recent memory. Got to be careful. When you have a bad experience, you can't let that color your opinion of the movie on the screen, because what is going on the screen and what is going on in the theater are two different things, and it's not fair to hold one against the other. And I've been guilty of doing that before. You know, the first time I saw The Night Before with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that was also a bad movie-going experience, and it really affected my my entertainment of the movie, the entertainment value I received from the movie, which was a shame. So what can I say about Captain Marvel? Well, I gotta say, and my wife, if she were here, if Christine were here, she would agree with me. We both really, really, really liked the movie. I think this was on the upper echelon of Marvel movies. Now, to give you a baseline of where my tastes lie, let me tell you what I think are some of the better Marvel movies. Let me tell you what I think are some of the weaker Marvel movies. That way you'll get an idea of my tastes. What I consider the upper echelon of Marvel movies: Infinity War. I think that's the best one. I think that is the best one. Infinity War, the 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Thor 1, Thor 3, Ragnarok, and the Iron Man movies. That's like my upper echelon. I think that's the best of the best when it comes to Marvel movies. My least favorite, Thor the Dark World. So Thor 2. Thor 1 and 3 are in my top, and Thor 2 is in my bottom. Black Panther and Doctor Strange. These are the ones that I have enjoyed the least. Now, I'd like to point out that I like every single Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. I haven't seen one that I've disliked yet. The ones that I put on the bottom, I think they're still good movies. I think they're definitely still good movies. They're just, when you have 21 movies, 22 movies, whatever we're up till now, and you say, hey, here's 22 good movies. Which are the best of these? Which are the worst of these? So when I say Black Panther, Doctor Strange, and Thor the Dark World are my least favorite, I'm still saying I like them. They're just my least favorite of the group. So anyway, I would put Captain Marvel somewhere towards the top. I'd need to see it again to decide exactly where it falls. But this movie is entertaining from start to finish. It is funny. Ben Mendelsohn, surprisingly, you know, Ben Mendelsohn, we've seen him in Ready Player One. We've seen him in Rogue One. You kind of have an idea what Ben Mendelsohn's like. I didn't realize this guy was as funny or was as capable of being as funny as he is in this movie. He had some real funny one-liners. We've got Nick Fury, Sam Jackson we know is great. We've got a cool 90s setting, a lot of great 90s music. Now, I'm an 80s guy. I'm in my 40s. The era that I have the most nostalgia for is the 80s. You set something in the 80s, you put 80s music in it, you've immediately got my attention. So, but the 90s, you know, the 90s are cool too. They're not really my favorite era, but I do have a lot of nostalgia for the 90s. So hearing all this 90s music and the 90s, that was really, really cool. I will say it has, I'm not going to tell you what they do. I don't want to give a spoiler, but the intro, the Marvel Comics, the Marvel Studios intro, they do something a little special with it. And what they do is so cool, it actually got a round of applause from the audience I was in. The audience just went nuts for what they did to the Marvel logo. It's really great. What else can be said about this movie? Well, you know that Samuel L. Jackson's a great actor. You know he's going to be good. It's great seeing Agent Coulson back in one of these movies again. We got Clark Gregg back. It's great seeing him on the big screen again, so that's awesome. Brie Larson is terrific in the role. Now, I've only seen Brie Larson in 3 things up till now: Kong Skull Island, 21 Jump Street, and her role on Community as Abed's girlfriend. Those are really the only things I've seen her in. She was good in all those things. She's great in this. She is very, very good in the role. I can't wait to see more of her. She's going to be great, I think, in Endgame. Can't wait to see Captain Marvel 2 whenever that happens. And what's another really cool thing about the movie is every Marvel movie kind of, and the dog is up shaking himself. If you hear a shaking, that's Oreo. He just got up and shook himself. And I got to keep a close eye on the cat because the dog and the cat don't get along and they're both down here. So I must be vigilant. One cool thing about every Marvel movie is instead of, you know, falling on formula, which they easily could. They could easily fall on formula. Every Marvel movie is different. They always find a unique tone. For example, Ant-Man was the heist movie. Winter Soldier was the political thriller. Spider-Man Homecoming was the John Hughes movie. I would say this is the buddy cop film. This was the buddy cop film between Captain Marvel and Nick Fury. And the two of them have great chemistry together. They bounce off each other just beautifully. If we do get a Captain Marvel 2, and I'm sure we will based on the box office, it's done quite well this weekend. But I really hope that they can bring Nick Fury back and recreate the chemistry the two of them had together. Which could be a little bit of a challenge considering a Captain Marvel sequel will probably take place about 25 years later, whatever the time frame is, 25, 30 years later after the first one, because this one's set in the 90s. Now we know she's going to be in Endgame, which is set in the present day. But I'd like to see them recreate that again, because that's one of the highlights of the movie. These two just have terrific chemistry together. They really bounce off each other. So I don't want to give away any spoilers. I don't want to say anything that's going to give the film away, but I am going to give it a big high five. This is, this time last year we got Black Panther, and the world went nuts for it. The world went crazy for Black Panther, and I wanted to. I really did. I really wanted to. I saw it 3 times in the theater trying to figure out what I was missing. What is it about this movie that everyone what is everyone seeing that it's somehow escaping me? And I never did see it. I never did see it. It's a good movie, but I thought it was dull. I thought it lacked humor. I wanted to love Black Panther as much as everyone else, just wasn't getting there. And this, on the other hand, this is totally what I'm looking for. Another little interesting trivia bit, I think I've mentioned it on this channel before, but I find it interesting. Starting in December with Aquaman, we got 3 major superhero movies in a row starting in December. We had Aquaman, obviously, now we have Captain Marvel, and now we have Shazam coming next month. And a very interesting thing about all 3 of those movies is Damon Hanzu is in the cast of all 3 movies. He was one of the fish people in Aquaman. He was reprising his role from Guardians of the Galaxy this time around, and he's going to play the wizard Shazam, who gives Billy Batson his powers in Shazam. And that is really interesting, because if you look, I did a video on this channel about the history of the name Shazam. Look for my video, Will the Real Captain Marvel Please Stand Up? It was one of the most recent videos, where I just really traced the history of the name Captain Marvel, and through DC Marvel Fawcett Comics, another publisher named EMF Enterprises had their own Captain Marvel. There's been a lot of heroes with this name. And Shazam, the hero known as Shazam, was once a Captain Marvel. They just changed his name a few years ago. I mean, he was a Captain Marvel less than 10 years ago. It was like 2012 that they changed his name. So it was not long ago. And both of the Marvel Captain Marvel, the DC Captain Marvel, both of them have films coming out a month apart. And Damon Hanzu is in both films. How weird is that? So, anyway, that's my review, Captain Marvel. It's a big winner for Marvel Comics, Marvel Studios, excuse me, Disney. Check it out. I really dug it, and I'm really looking forward to this, because that's another thing. I never read Captain Marvel growing up. I never read Marvel's Captain Marvel. I never read Marvel's Captain Marvel. I never read Marvel's Miss Marvel, who this character was originally known as Miss Marvel. So this is a character, even though I'm a comic guy and I come from the world of comics, this is a character I never really read. The only real exposure to this character in the comics that I have is in the 90s, Kurt Busiek, or Busiek. I don't know how you pronounce his name. He's a hell of a good writer. Hell of a good writer. I don't know how you say his name. Is it Busiek? Is it Busiek? I've heard it pronounced both ways, and I'm not sure which one is right. But Kurt Busiek, or Busiek, was writing a run of Avengers in the 90s. He did a really good run of Avengers, and for a while, Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, whatever, she was a member of the Avengers, and at that time, her name was Warbird. So that's really my only exposure to this character in the comics at all, was that run of the comics. Otherwise, she's pretty much a new character to me, but I dug it. It's great. Check it out. Keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas with the plastic feet. Keep wearing those pajamas. Tell everyone you meet. Keep wearing those pajamas with the back door flap. Keep wearing those pajamas. Don't open, it's a trap. Oh no, it's a trap. call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander pajamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now we're having fun. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now the song is done.